How does this... Oh, no. Hi guys, today I thought I'd try something different and actually talk to you guys using video, which is not something I normally do. Let's give it a go. I'm going to be releasing 2 new tracks today to my new early subscriber Patreon people, early subscribing patrons. They'll be getting that today, and then everyone will be getting it in a week's time. So don't fret if you don't have early access. It's fine. You'll get it. These 2 tracks are kind of like a response to stuff that's been happening recently. I've been in a bit of a writing rut. And I've been doing a lot of work in the lab for my science PhD. It takes a lot of my time. I'm kept pretty busy in the lab some days. So I get pretty tired, I get a bit frustrated. Sometimes I just don't want to write music. And so it's hard to overcome that barrier sometimes. But when I get this way, sometimes I actually like to play around, experiment a bit. And the idea of just loading up a template in Sonar and just playing around, throwing down a few chords and seeing where it goes. I often also like to find sort of moody sci-fi art. That often I find all these artists on deviantart.com. Really good place to find that kind of stuff. And it's just kind of like a way to use it as use it as a stimulus, so I can respond to it, write something at least, something that gets the juices flowing. And I find that these sort of things are really experiments, so they're kind of things that allow new ideas to grow out of them. So when I'm getting in a rut, these are great things to do, just to really play, get back to basics and have a play. So the 2 tracks today come out of this kind of experimentation. The first one, Genesis, it's a track that's kind of really sort of simple strings and like this subtle sort of a droney sort of synth underneath. But what I really wanted to play around with this track was the idea of making a synth sing. So it becomes almost like this vocal line. So it was a good challenge to try and make it sound melodic and beautiful. Anyway, it's just a little quick experiment. And the second track I got is another track called Cobalt. And this one was me loading up a piano patch and just having an improv one afternoon. And then I followed it up with adding a few layers of strings and synth to fill it out, just make the space a bit more fuller and richer. I tend to write a lot of music that is often ascending or driving towards some sort of finality. And I think that comes from sort of my days way back when I used to write a lot of film trailer music, and it's been really hard to break that cycle. So tracks like this, tracks like Cobalt, that actually help with relearning how to write music that just doesn't necessarily have to go up or go anywhere in particular. It's just sort of wafting, and it lives in a space of its own and doesn't go anywhere. And I like that. I want to explore a lot more music like this in the future. In other news, from these tracks on, I'll be releasing alongside these tracks what I'll call alternative mixes. So if you don't know what an alt mix is essentially it's the same track, except something's been changed about it. So you might have a melody removed, or it's a drums only mix, so only the drums are in there, all the other instruments have been removed. It's a way of providing essentially alternative versions of the same track that might work better for your project. For instance, I'll be providing an alternative mix for Genesis, and it has no synth melody to it. And the idea being that it might be more suitable for Underscore. I'll also try and provide some alt mixes for older tracks in the library. I've been terrible at archiving my tracks into formats that I can easily open them up again, so it's a bit problematic with some of these older tracks to be able to do this kind of thing. So I can't guarantee doing alt mixes for most of these tracks, but I'll try. I know I've already done alt mixes for a few of them, so I will definitely upload them as soon as I can. But definitely from now on, and for a lot of the recent tracks that I've been doing, I will definitely have alt mixes available. And if you've got alternate versions that you can envisage out of these tracks, so if I provide you a few and maybe you want a different alternative mix, let me know and I'll try my best to arrange that for you. And then I'll be able to upload that as an additional alternative mix for everyone to be able to use. Okay, I think that's enough from me. Thank you everyone who's supported me so far. I really appreciate it. If you're keen to support what I do, creating Creative Commons music for everyone to be able to use, you can support me on Patreon. Patreon is a website where you can go and support people you like, people that make things. I make music. If you like what I make, feel free to support me on Patreon. Alternatively, you can just simply use my music, share it around, make sure everyone hears it. That'd be really